All right. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Julie Steele here from BUEI. Thank you for joining us for our second kind of meeting for eco schools. We had one meeting that was in person at BUEI for Greening Minds for Eco Excellence. So thank you if you were able to attend that with Miss Joanne Ball-Burgess. Today, our second webinar, or our webinar, is going to be really to kind of get set up for success for and to help our schools really look into the different pathways that are available, and then that 7-step process. And I'm going to try to keep it to about 30 minutes and if there's anybody that wants to stay on after that, then I'm happy to stay longer and chat, but I just want to honor your time. Okay, and if you could just please just add your name and your school to the chat, that would be really great. And let's see, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share. Let's see, share my screen here. Okay. All right, and let's see, present. Okay, hopefully that's up for everybody to see. So this is our Mastering the Eco Schools journey. So if you are a returning school, welcome, and you are probably familiar with this framework, but it is also great to kind of hear a little bit more about what opportunities there are within the different pathways, and some new just ideas from others that might be wanting to share as well. So just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what Eco Schools is. So it's let me just move this out of the way first of all. One of the largest global sustainable schools programs, and that's worldwide. So there are 73 countries that participate in the Eco Schools program, and tens of thousands of schools all over the place. And it starts in the classroom, expands to the community by engaging our students and our youth in action-based learning. So let's see here. I don't know why it's the main thing about Eco Schools is that it's an international award program. So you're recognized not only within the school and within on the island, but also internationally, especially if you are you get to green flag status, which is easy to do using the 7-step framework. And then also, it really builds that sustainability as part of the culture of the school. So what we emphasize is that it's student-led and it's action-based. So we really want our youth to take part in environmental action and really start to look around at how they can be part of that. So and then also BUEI is the national operator for Eco Schools, and we are so that means that we operate it here in this country, and in other countries, they have one national operator as well. So there's, and even though Bermuda is a smaller country, that helps to really support and to create networks internationally on the sustainability journey. Okay, so 7-step framework. That's what we're here to really kind of share today, and then just make sure that you can see what those 7 steps are, but also to see how easily we can just really integrate that into making sure that that we are able to achieve that status of either green flag, or even achieving with each pathway either green seed or green shoot, which is just level by level. And it's also intended to be flexible during the time when there was a lot of remote learning due to COVID. We were able to also be flexible about the way that these steps were accomplished and arranged, but it's also the capacity of the campus, which looks very different in different schools. And we do encourage that through those 7 steps, that you try to complete them within one academic year. And that way everybody feels like they've come to closure with that, and that you are able to kind of mark your progress. So the 7 steps that we're going to be going through are, and they are kind of in an order, but they don't necessarily have to be in this order all the way. So the first thing you do have to do is form an eco committee, carry out environmental review, make an action plan, monitor and evaluate, link to curriculum, inform and involve, and produce what's called an eco code or an eco charter. Oh, what just happened there? Oh my goodness. I can't believe that. Okay, so this didn't look like this when I had created it. So all this stuff over here was the different steps. So I'll go through them with you, and I'm going to have to adjust that for the notes that I send you afterwards. So bear with me here. So the first part is step 1. Form an eco team or an eco committee. Okay, so on the right, thankfully, it's not in gibberish. It shows you that eco teams can consist of students, and it usually also consists of an eco coordinator. This could be more than one person at your school, so that you might have a team that also has maybe a facilities person, or your principal, or a counselor, or you may be the counselor at your school. But what's really, really important is that the students are involved, and that they're helping to lead with the action, and that you meet regularly. And regularly does not necessarily mean that you have to meet weekly or anything like that. We do recommend about once every half term at least. But if you're not able to do that and you want to get started in term 2, that's okay. What we just want to make sure of is that students are involved in this, and that they are learning those leadership skills. Okay, step 2 is conducting an environmental review. I can go back to the last one so that you can see carrying out an environmental review, and I'll show you what that looks like in the different pathways, and where you can actually find more resources on that, and identifying where to take action. So the pathways, there are 10 different pathways, and we'll be looking at that those 10 pathways with just a little bit more information, and then you can really go into it in depth. Some of them are pretty well known, like the waste and litter minimization pathway, but we have pathways like transport and energy and water that might be of interest for your group of students or your school. Okay, the third part is actually coming up with an action plan. So while you're doing this, you've done an environmental review. You're going to conduct that review, and just kind of get a baseline on what to do to just kind of see where you are right now. If you have participated in eco schools in past years, you also want to kind of maintain that base, at least kind of doing another review of that same pathway that you might have done before, just to see that you're still on track. It doesn't necessarily mean that you never want to go backwards with a particular pathway. So if you've made the leap from I don't know, reducing paper use or something across, and then you don't want to see all of a sudden that gets kind of tossed away for the next year, and that you're starting something completely different. You want to kind of maintain those so that you're making that progress through the different sustainability pathways as well. Okay, and then so the creating an action plan goes on from there, and that's what this says, even though you can't tell what it says. And it's choosing the issues that you want to tackle, and then how do you want to tackle them. So once you've done the environmental review, the next step is figuring out what you want to do with that information. And so the idea is to really take a look at what could be done. So maybe you're seeing that there's a lot of trash on the campus or at certain times. This is where the students actually will, kind of take part in discussing what could be done about that. What are some ways that they can promote that within the school, and what they need to do, and how they're going to accomplish that. Okay. sadly, we've got more gibberish here. But the next step is monitor and evaluate. Okay, so as you're going through this, it's one thing to take the action or to say that you're going to take the action, but you want to actually be able to kind of make sure that you're progressing rather than going backwards on any of this. And so monitoring that over time is a great way to do that. And there are some wonderful examples of schools that have tracked progress by creating charts. They can create graphs. You can even take before and after pictures of any type of action that you do to show what is being done, and also to really encourage your community to keep that going. Okay, it's also a really great opportunity for writing, for drawing, and also for just being able to organize information. So monitor and evaluate. That's what that says there. Okay, the next one is to connect to the curriculum. So there are lots of different opportunities to connect to perhaps your social studies or your science curriculum or even literacy. So there's just lots of different ways that you might actually be able to do some research on something that you see as an issue. Maybe even find out in your local community some ways to collect information. Maybe there's a survey that you want to do. Maybe it's a way to communicate with families about what you're doing in the school as well. And then there's also the option of field trips and curriculum enrichment opportunities. So a lot of our organizations that are doing different types of science and social studies learning, as well as other types of learning, could actually kind of tie in one way or another to your environmental action or some of the learning that you're doing. I know that, for instance, when you visit BUEI, there are times when it ties to the social studies curriculum, especially with threats to the environment. And then also just some other options for coming together and doing things with different projects. So there are lots of organizations that we can share with that. Okay, and inform and involve. I am really sorry that this is all gibberish. It did not look like this when I put it up earlier today. Okay, sharing your work with your community is informing and involving. So this can be as simple as, maybe there's a newsletter that you all put out, or you're doing a school-wide assembly of some sort. You can, just update on the types of activities that are happening with eco schools, school bulletins of some sort. If you post on your school social media, hashtag eco schools Bermuda as well, and then we can help to kind of boost that visibility of what you're doing, and that would be great. But also there are lots of opportunities for the local press to really share your story as well. And I'm just gonna put a plug in here for you to share with Eco Schools Bermuda. So we have an Instagram page, we also have Facebook, and we can share on TikTok if you want as well. So there are lots of different ways that we would be willing to share that, but we want to make sure that we get the word out about the good work that you guys are doing, because it's just really inspiring to the community to see that. And then the final step number 7, as it says right here, is form an eco code. So an eco code is really kind of a call to action for your school, and you can be really creative with that. There are some schools that have taken the eco schools letters, and they've been able to add something to each letter, or they can take their own school name and add something that is eco related to it. You could be creative with posters and different things, but you want to, or a song, and you want to kind of embed that as part of the school's values or culture. And that's really the point of all this, is to make sure that sustainability becomes part of the kind of mindset and those habits of mind for our students, and then for our school community. So Thankfully, this doesn't look like gibberish anymore. These are the 10 eco schools pathways. In different countries, they might choose a different set of eco schools pathways to also have, but this is the basic 10 that we have here. And if we had any more, it would just become like a little bit too much for us to keep up with. But the thing with pathways is that we try to make sure that they're also supported by encouraging the work with subject matter experts, which we call delivery partners. So this could be just really kind of getting a little bit of information or some suggestions and advice about the action that you're taking. You might also connect with them because there's an organization or a group that is doing an event, or they can help you with something. And so we, Eco Schools Bermuda has, a number of different suggested delivery partners, but there are also lots of other people in the community that are willing to support this type of work. So looking at these 10 pathways, first of all, we've got the water pathway, and I'll just suggest there's a group called Coombe Consulting, and this pathway is all about fresh water, clean water, looking at just kind of your water as an important resource and what you might do to minimize waste of water. So there are questions around that are in the environmental review or the sustainability audit. And then from there, if that's an issue that your school wants to tackle, that's how you would go about it, is starting with that environmental review and then going through and taking action around one or two different small things, but really small things make a big difference. Okay, so that's one example. But we've got waste and litter minimization. I'm sure that you can think about quite a few different opportunities to work with our delivery partners here. But to mention just a couple, KBB is one of them, waste management, government waste management is another. And then last year, BUEI partnered with Beyond Plastic Bermuda, and we were able to deliver a number of primary school assemblies and presentations around that. So once again, these are ways to kind of enhance that, and that does count for part of the kind of linking to the partners, but also to just really kind of inform and involve the rest of the community. Biodiversity. So there are lots of different opportunities within biodiversity. You can be addressing issues with invasive species or with lots of other things. And I'll actually give you an example. I'll show you an example of how that looks and what resources we have on the BUEI website under Eco Schools Bermuda for each of these pathways. I'm just going to quickly go through the others. Transport, climate change, sustainable food. So with transport, that should be pretty self-explanatory. Climate change, it's really kind of thinking about how we connect to the overall issues with climate with any of our environmental actions. So it could be reduction of pollution. It could be, just kind of conserving resources. There are lots of different ways that we can connect with that. Sustainable food. So if you are growing a garden, if you are already participating in things like the Ag Show, that might be where you want to pursue a pathway. Health and well-being has some really great connections and options as well. This year also with energy, there's an opportunity that I'll share in just a couple minutes. And then with school grounds, that is kind of really greening your space. So greening your campus space and figuring out what you might do on your school grounds to make it more of an outdoor space that is more enjoyable. And then of course, marine and coast. And so, delivery partners vary for each of these. And what we try to do is really match up our schools with somebody that can be suggested that would really kind of give you some guidance or advice for that. Okay, let's see. So before I show you the other things, I do want to just point out that we also have the option of some special events and dates that are coming up. So I will reiterate these in other future webinars and also with further correspondence, but just so that you can see, like starting next year, there are lots of different options, but I have one more to show you that is actually an invitation from the BHS group that are doing a special type of challenge. So World Wildlife Day, that's on Saturday, March 3rd, UN World Water Day is March 22nd, and BUEI is looking to possibly do an event around that. So schools just, kind of keep your ear out for that coming up. Young Reporters for the Environment is another program through the Foundation for Environmental Education that BUEI is the national operator for. I will give you more information later, but this is really for ages 11 to 25. And last year we held our first competition in this, and this is environmental journalism. So it's photo stories, photos, and environmental writing as well. So that's another option. Green Rocks Earth Hour. So Earth Hour is on March 23rd. Earth Day is on April 22nd, as well as the kickoff of what's called Global Action Days. And a couple of our schools participated in these simple global actions that really was kind of like a challenge to take up different types of actions, and great ways to document that too. The agricultural exhibition is, another event that a lot of schools participate in, and that could also tie to one of your eco schools pathways, especially the one about sustainable foods tends to be the connection there, but there could be others. And then finally, we have World Oceans Day, and that is when we really kind of celebrate with our Eco Schools Awards, and we invite our eco schools first to take part in our celebrations. So we'll be holding those on June 6th and 7th, and having selected times for tours, because World Oceans Day, the actual day, is on Saturday, June 8th. Okay. And then let's see here. So the next steps for you is to just kind of give you, if you haven't already kind of started your eco club for the year, that would be, just a reminder that what you want to do is just kind of get started. So forming an eco club is pretty simple. You can just just gather some students that are really interested in doing this, and then just kind of keep a list of who's in that committee, and then make sure that you offer regular meeting times and help to do this as a dedicated initiative. Also, set up a date for that environmental review or that audit. In all of these, we are here to help you with that. So just send me an email if I can be supportive of that. I can attend your meeting both virtually or in person if we schedule it, if you need some help with that. And then also, I'm here to, kind of suggest some delivery partners if you don't already have one yourselves, or if you want to kind of broaden the opportunities with other partners, I'm happy to, share in facilitating that. So all the way through, we'd love for you to make sure that you document and share that progress that you're making. We just want to celebrate your work just as much as we can, and make sure that everybody else is able to see the great work that you're doing. And then the final documentation for the Eco Awards, that's at the Green Shoot, Green Seed, and the Green Flag level, will be before May 21st. So if you all, go through your 7 steps and you're done within, by April, I know that some schools are trying to do exams and things like that, and they don't want to go as long as that. Great, that's wonderful. We're happy to take that information whenever you're ready for it, but we do want to make sure that you're able to really just get the highest achievement that you can. Okay, so let's see if there's anything. Oh yeah. And so ways that we can support you, you can schedule a meeting with me, and It can be a planning session if you're just getting started. If you know when you're going to start, I can also help you with the environmental review. We can go over that. We can do a check-in meeting as well. We can also, like I said, support with guidance from delivery partners, or give you some suggestions for who could give you some advice on the actions that you take. And then you can book either a school-wide assembly or a curriculum enrichment class with us, or you might also see if any of those organizations that align with the different pathways might be able to support that. So I think there's one other. Yeah, so the next webinar is going to be on January 10th. And depending on the feedback, I'll be sending you an email afterwards just to see what needs you'll have. But the webinar is really going to focus on kind of how to easily document things, and then also some upcoming opportunities. But an opportunity that we have right now that I wanted to share from BHS is that they have been working with Belco to promote a challenge for schools to reduce energy consumption. And so if you would like to do that, if energy is an area that you all would like to kind of focus on for your schools, it's a way for Belco to provide kind of a benchmark for you. They will actually provide information on what your school's electricity bills are. And then there's a period of time that they will monitor how your energy consumption is going. And then those schools are kind of measured based on the number of students that they have and how much is used per student. So it's a great way to kind of incorporate math, and then also to just get an idea of how schools collectively can take action. So if you're interested in doing that, once again, the teacher's name is Mr. Greg Suter, and gsuter@bhs.bm. All you need to provide to him is just say that you want to be part of the Green Cup Challenge, provide your school's name, the number of students, and the preferred email address, and he will just get you that information. Okay. And once again, let's see. So, and just here is my information. Once again, I will share all this with you afterwards. I will try to make sure that it doesn't look like gibberish once you get I'll make them into PDFs that actually work, and share this again with you. And then I've got this recording as well. But from here, I'm going to stop sharing this page, and I'm just going to take a moment to just check in with who's here, if there's anything that you're looking for. From here on out, I know that there are some of you that, I said that I tried to finish within 30 minutes, and I'm pretty much there, except for that I want to navigate through some of your resources that are on the BUEI website, so that you can have those for your eco clubs, and also where you can get further information about the different pathways and what can be done with them. So if you want to stay on for just a minute or two more, then what I'd like to do is go ahead and share that with you. So let me see. First, just bear with me for just a second. Just gonna make sure. Oh yeah, okay, so I'm gonna escape that. And okay, here we go. All right, so all right, so here is the BUEI website. If you go under education, you'll see that we have our camps, school programs, and Eco Schools Bermuda. So this is the page that we're on, Eco Schools Bermuda. If you are looking for different pathways, here are 10 different pathways, and underneath that, once again, is the 7-step framework. And so if you go into the handbook part of that, it kind of tells you step by step the different parts. And then what we have is also another resource that's called the meeting record sheet. And it's just basically a form that you can print out if you need something to start with for taking some notes for the meetings. What that helps with is documentation of who was there, kind of what you talked about. It's a great way, especially if you want your students to take the initiative of really kind of taking leadership in documenting and being the secretary for those meetings. That would be one way for them to get started. So let's just take a look at one of these pathways. So I'll start with, let's say, health and well-being. So if you click on health and well-being, it gives you a bit of information about promoting, what this particular pathway is about. It gives some local examples. This one actually has, this is where the Healthy Schools Initiative with the Department of Health, we work with them to make sure that if you're already documenting and participating in healthy schools, that really a lot of that work actually is very easily documented to make sure that it goes with the health and well-being pathway. So if you're already working on that, then that's a pretty easy win for continuing to build that pathway. The other options are there are different partners such as SPCA, for instance, and they do that compassionate classroom. I think it's for P4, but SPCA has a lot of different programs that can work with that. If you're doing kind of mindfulness exercises at your school, there are just lots of different ways that you can encourage health and well-being. And so using the audits down here. So there's a secondary school audit if you're, in middle or senior school, but there's also a primary school audit. And so looking at one of these audits, for instance, will show you, it'll take you to a document that then gives you a little bit more information and helps to take some notes. And so this is what a baseline looks like for a primary school health and well-being audit. It just asks questions like, do your students understand what makes a meal healthy? If that's an area that you want to work on, if you want them to take the survey of, kind of get an assessment of that, that might be and they really will kind of be pretty honest about how they feel about what they know. And then staying hydrated, for instance. There are lots of different things that they can do. So these are just some starting point questions. You might find that with a particular pathway, you want to go even further than the questions that are in this audit, but it's a starting point for those schools that are really thinking, we do want to make some changes. Here's one way to go about doing it. So let's see, if I go back to this section, there's also an information packet here. So if you want to then see some other information and ideas to explore, there are these other areas here. So really, it's pretty wide open and there are lots of different areas of focus. So if you need help kind of narrowing down what you think you'd like to work with, or you want to, some facilitation with one of us, I can certainly help with that as well. So that's one of the pathways. If I go back, this is the same for all the other ones. So let's say you want to do something with energy. Click on that. Same thing. Local examples of what has happened. There's the audits, and then there are some resources, and there are some suggestions for different partners. Now we have a larger list as well, and it changes all the time because we have other people that are willing to support that we may come in contact with, or a school may suggest somebody because they were able to use them and really kind of it was a great program for them, or so we really try to make that network just stronger for you. Okay. So once again, that's on education, eco schools, and you can find all of that information here, but you can also just chat with us. And I'm very happy to help with that too. So if you have any questions, I'll just stay on. If you have any suggestions for something that would be helpful to you in your process of taking part in eco schools this year, this is also, you know, why I hold this webinar, is to really kind of make sure that we're doing our best to make it easy and make it a success for you. So if you want to share anything, or if you are have any questions, just go ahead and ask. Okay. And then did everybody just type into the chat the schools that you're with and your name? Okay. All right. So I want to make sure that everybody here, as well as some of our schools that had indicated that they weren't able to make it, will receive this recording, but also they'll receive the notes from here as well. If you think of anything else that you need, I'm just going to type the two emails here so that you can have that at buei.bm. If you want to schedule a meeting or a follow-up chat, or you want to get things prepared for term 2, I'm happy to meet with you as well. We can keep it as short as you need and then do that at your convenience, because I know that you all have different types of schedules, and there are times that are coming up, especially with the holidays, that it may be harder for you to be able to be available. But I really look forward to working with you all. Those schools that have been making progress already, good for you. If you're just getting started and you know that you really term 2 is when you're going to get going, that's okay too. But yeah, just call on us to make it easy if we can. Okay. So with that, I'm just going to say thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time, and I'll let you sign off, and I'm going to figure out how to stop the recording.